Okay, I'm just gonna try to talk fast because, like, low-key I have like a billion things to say, but I'm probably just not gonna say very many of them. Okay, so from your notes from your last recording, oh, you cutting your hair, which, like, I guess, like, I already knew you cut your hair, but you talked about it in your recording, so, yeah, it just, like, was cute in the picture. Like, I just, like, did think it was really cute, so I'm glad you think you like it. Let me know how it goes, since you should send more pictures, since you said that it wouldn't always be styled like that. So just what it would look like normally, but it really is cute, and I bet it's good for like the heat and things. And then you were like confirming, you were like it's not that I like the sun like when I'm outside, like it's just like only when I'm inside do I like it. And I was like, I knew that's what you meant. Because who in the planet likes sun on the outside? But yeah, so I did know that that's what you meant. I just hate the sun like all the time, like 24/7, inside and outside. And then you're like, update me on the Emily and Ethan situation if you want. And it's funny because I guess I thought I did, but like I meant to. But basically like they talked again, and Emily was just like, you need to like make changes. Or like that's it. And then I guess he has been like being like better or whatever, but yeah, so that's kind of what it was. And then you're like, it's funny because like you like, I thought the Korea trip was cheap, and then you were like, this is like expensive. But like I was like, to me though, it was like a whole week trip for 2 people, like, and like, so it was like, I don't remember how much it was, but like for a whole week for 2 people, like I feel like a week is like a long time to stay in a foreign country. So yeah, the way I'm like, I'll just pay like for both of us, like it's fine. And then seats in BTS's lap, I don't know what that is, but it sounds nice. Seats in BTS's lap, I don't know what that is, but it sounds nice. Seats in BTS's lap, I don't know what that is, but it sounds nice. Seats in BTS's lap, I don't know what that is, but it sounds nice. Seats in BTS's lap, I don't know what that is, but it sounds nice. Seats in BTS's lap, I don't know what that is, but it sounds nice. Seats in BTS's lap, I don't know what that is, but it sounds nice. Oh, and then you were also like, I'm outside for 6 hours a day, and that was just the most shocking thing I've heard in my life. Are you wearing sunscreen? Because I guess you would have to be, or else you'd be getting burnt. But I'm like you, like, I hope you're just applying it like so much, because yeah, you should just stay applying sunscreen every day, multiple times a day, please. I'm like, even when it just always apply sunscreen, because that's like crazy. Oh, and then you were talking about the girl you were talking to, and she's wearing a like shirt with Jungkook on it, and that is just like so funny. Like, and I can't believe you didn't take a picture. Oh, and then I was talking about the Jack in the Box thing, and how I got deja vu, and you were like, that's like when we had dirt, and I was like, yeah. And it's funny because like I got deja vu like with the like when I saw like when I first saw, like when we pulled up to Jack in the Box, when we pulled up to Jack in the Box, and I saw like the sign like we won't be open till whatever, like I got deja vu then. But I also got deja vu like as soon as like I left, like as soon as I walked out the door, and like I felt like the cool night air, like I had like a lot of deja vu like the second I stepped out of the door. And I just was pretty sure I didn't tell you that before, but yeah. And also just getting in the car, like it just like was that. Oh, and then this is the last note. You were said how you did read chapter 7, but you didn't leave comments, which is fine. But I was also like, you should let me like you didn't even comment like real quick what you thought like in the like voice recording. Like you were just like, I read it, but I didn't comment, and like that's fine. But I was like, you didn't even say anything about it besides just you read it, and I was like, what did you think? Like just real quick, like what did you think? But anyways. It's funny because like me just like taking forever for chapter 8, it's just like I like have an outline of it, and I have like the beginning of it written. It's just like a hard chapter to write. Anyways, Okay, so I guess moving on to telling you about school and things the past week or whatever. I just like don't feel like it. Like I'm like, do you ever need to know about it? Basically, I moved in, and then I guess I'll just tell you about like a few things, but like obviously I can't really tell you about everything because I feel like I just don't have time for that. But I'm like, whenever you get back, I'll probably like eventually tell you stories I never I never told you, because there just like wasn't really time or something like that. And then like I'll just like remember a story and tell you in that at that time. So I'm like, eventually I'll probably be caught up with like past things too. And then if I don't remember them, like, did it ever really matter? So yeah, but basically like school's been fine. It's been like pretty boring. But like I really like my schedule, which I sent it to you, I'm pretty sure, because I had 15 credits and all my classes were like language or Korean related. Um, and then except for biology, but I had 15 credits, so I could drop biology if I wanted and still be a full-time student, which is 12 credits. So yeah, and I was in Korean 1 because if you recall the story I told you, where I was like trying to sign up for my schedule, and I told my advisor, I was like, hey, like I know some Korean and things like that, but he was like, oh, like you still have to be in Korean 1. And then I told the second advisor, and I was like, because like Korean wasn't available, and I was like, well, I actually know some Korean, like I don't know if another one would be available to me. And she's like, no, the classes here are hard, like the language classes are hard, like so like you're gonna have to be in Korean 1. And I was like, okay. So anyway, so flash forward, the day before I go to my Korean 1 class, I'm reading the syllabus, and it has like a section for like objectives, and it's basically like learn the Korean alphabet and like learn how to read and write Korean alphabet, um, learn like basic vocabulary and basic grammar, and like Korean culture and greetings. And I was reading that and I was like, I feel like I know all of that. Like I don't know what the definition they're using for basic grammar and vocabulary, but like I do be knowing basic grammar and vocabulary. Like I know like the words for like cucumber and like cigarette and like airplane and like scissors. So I feel like that's like basic. Like I'm like, do they really learn that much more than that? Um and so anyways, and so I reached, or no, I was like, I decided I would go to class first. And then after going to the first class of Korean 1, I was like very much feeling like it was like too easy because she was saying something about like a midterm in the class, and like the midterm was just like so easy, and I was like, I could do that right now for the entire class. Like I could do the midterm. And we like were like yeah. And so anyways, and so I reached out to my advisor that day, and I messaged him, and I was basically like, hey, like I was previously told I had to be in this class, but like based on the first day of class and the syllabus, like this be feeling like it is far too easy for me. So then he forwarded that email, and he to like another Korean teacher, and was like, hey, like can you give Bella an like informal assessment to see if she could move to Korean 2. And the teacher was like, yeah, for sure. And she's like, I'm free from 5 to 7 today if that's like works for you. If not, let me know. And I was like, that works for me. And so she's like, cool, like write a half-page self-introduction essay in Korean and send it to me before 5, and then we'll do the thing. And I was like so nervous for this thing. And then I had class from like 1 to 2, so I had to do that. And then like I had to write this essay in 3 hours. And then I was practicing reading it a ton because I thought I'd have to read it out loud, which I never actually ended up having to read it out loud, but I was just like really nervous. And then like we got on the Zoom call, and she asked me like a question or two in Korean, and I answered her in Korean, and she's like, your speaking is like really good, like you already seem like you're like good. And I was like, thank you. And then she just like went over different parts in various like textbooks to see kind of my level and see like whatever. And so then basically I like was able to just skip and go to Korean 2, so like kind of flex like me just skipping an entire year of Korean from like, because I self-studied in 2020 and like haven't studied since. So yeah, kind of flex. But so yeah, but that kind of like ruined my life a little bit because I had to like change my schedule around a lot because of that. So like I was in a Korean history and culture class, which I can't take because it was the same time as my Korean 2 class. And then the Korean 2 class is only 3 credits as opposed to the 6 credits in Korean 1. So I had to like I couldn't take that one class, and I had to take a new class, like a random class that I didn't even want to take. And now I only have 12 credits instead of 15, which is like stressful because that meant I can't drop biology if I want to. And so like basically I have to do good in that, especially because I'm trying to transfer out of the school, so I have to have good grades. And biology in that class, there's only like 3 tests, and those are the only 3 grades in that class. So basically that's like stressful. But anyways, so that was like when that first was like going down, I was really upset about it. I mean, I was glad once I passed the Korean test, but when I found out Korean 2 was the same time as my other class, and then I was messaging my advisor to see if like he had any ideas or like how I could like change my schedule, and then like he told me like how I could change it, but he also said like if there's a conflict in your schedule, reach out to like this other like third Korean professor and see if she would like and see if like you can be added to her class. And so I like messaged or I emailed her, and I like explained the situation to her, and then she was like basically like my class has been full since like before school even started, so no. And I was like dead because I like it was mainly like I felt so like it's fine now, like it is what it is now. But I felt so frustrated at the time. Like I remember I was talking to my mom and I was like crying on the phone, but I was like so frustrated the more I thought about it, because I was like the fact that like it's literally both my advisor's fault that like I'm having to deal with this, and like I'm having to change my schedule around and like do all these things and like reach out to like all these people, because both my advisors were like, no, like you have to start with Korean 1. Like they didn't believe me when I told them I knew like Korean, you know? And so that's just so ridiculous, because like it like turns out like it just was like far too easy for me. Like I ended up going the second day too because I didn't like finalize everything, and it was just so boring. Like I was losing my mind like in the second day of class, because I was like, this is just the most boring thing I've ever like been in my life too. And so anyways, so like it like just was my advisor's fault for that. And so that was just like really like I just felt very like wronged, because also like during my orientation I was crying because I was like thought I couldn't take Korean, and like they told me I couldn't go to Korean 2 or like the accelerated one, you know. But like turns out like I should have, and the Korean 2 class was literally open at the time. So like I could have taken it. Like so like she was like my class has been closed, but like back when they told me I couldn't take Korean 2, like it wasn't closed and I could have taken it. So that's just like really frustrating. Like literally just everyone doing me wrong except for the one professor that like accepted me into her class, even though her class was full. Like she still accepted me. But anyways, just stupid. And then it's funny because like anyways, never mind. But so yeah, so I had to change my schedule around, and so that kind of sucked. And then school's been fine. It's funny because like I have no friends. Like my roommate is like kind of my only friend. And then at one point like I was hanging out with my roommate's friends, and like they're fine, but like they wanted to go to a party at one point, and I had to like walk home by myself, and it was kind of like dark and a little scary. But I was like, I don't want to like go to a party. And then it's also like they've like I've like hung out with them like twice, but it's like how am I supposed to talk to these girls like I have nothing in common with, and that are all friends with each other and went to high school together. Anyways, but I'm just kind of planning on like just not making any friends, and like that's just gonna be what it is. Like I'm just gonna eat lunch by myself and like just chill, and like as long as I do my work it's fine. Like I know I've talked about how like junior year highest highs and lowest lows, and then senior year, I had some high highs, or not like high highs, but I had highs and I had lows, but I was like mainly content, you know. Like it was just much more like it was just much less dramatically like drastic, you know. And I feel like this year will be just like the like most just the same. Like I feel like it'll just be level because I just have no friends, so I'm just like living my life. Just trying to, graduate. But it's funny because Emily, like, we had a Labor Day weekend, you know, so like 3-day weekend, and so me and Emily, like, we decided we would hang out, and like drive the distance and then go to Forney together. So I'm in Forney right now, actually. Um, and so, but it's funny because like she came on Friday, and I remember like laughing and like early when she came in, like we were just like laughing about things and like having a good time. And it was funny because I was like it's like I've been to like in at college for like 2 weeks, and this is like the first time I've like laughed. Like I was like me just like I don't know, like it was just funny. I was like, man, like me just like having no like fun or joy in college, like it was just like funny. But anyways, but we had a good time. And so yeah, and so my classes are all fine. My biology teacher, he's nice. I'm like thinking if I work hard, I'll be able to hopefully get a good grade in that class. Um, and then I have like a linguistics professor. He's really sweet. I like him. And then my Korean teacher, she's nice. Although the Korean class is like really like it's going by so slow. Like that class is like also kind of boring because it's just like going too slow for like my preferences. And also like it's funny because like there's like a chance I'm not, but there's also a chance that like I'm like the best person like in that class. Like which is like funny. Which but there's a chance I'm not, but like there is a chance I am. But like it's also annoying because I haven't studied in so long, and so there were a few times like she's like, "How do you say post office in Korean?" And like multiple people said the answer, but I was like, "Wait, what is it again?" So like that's just frustrating because like there would be a time when I would know much more. You know, like I literally like last summer a year ago, like I did like 2 grammar lessons and like learned like 20 new words, which I've forgotten all of them, and like but that was all I did like a year ago, and I didn't do anything like my entire senior year. Like I really just did stop studying in 2020, so it like has been 2 years since I've studied basically. So like it's a little frustrating because I'm like if I just like retained like a little bit more. But anyways, but still like I be knowing like oh like well I guess it depends, but like so basically like I'm sitting I'm sitting this is so frustrating that I'm not like talking to you in person. Like I was telling the story to like Will and my mom, and I just told the story like so much better like this when I was talking to them like in person. But anyways, but so basically we had to go into like the groups of 3 and like read these Korean conversations out loud or like with each other and like talk about what they meant. So we took turns reading them, and like after the first one I was like, okay, like do you guys know what this means? And then they were just like no, and I was like, oh lol, like okay, like this is what it means. And then we read the next one. I was like, do you guys know what it means? And then they're like no, and then I like translated it, and then the same thing happened with the third one. And one girl was like, how do you know all of this? And I was like, oh, like I'm actually, because everyone in that class is a sophomore or a junior or a senior. And I was like, oh, like haha, like I'm a freshman and I actually like studied by myself. And so like I just was placed in this class. Um, but yeah, it's funny also because like the conversations were like so easy. Like I was shocked that they didn't know what it meant. Like it was like, how's the weather? Like that was like how, I mean like not all of them were that easy, but like one of the things like that was like how's the weather or something like that. And I was like, how do you like not know what that meant? Like I think I was like, and I was trying to break it down for them. I was like, break it down. I was like, okay, like what does like narshi mean? And then they were like, I don't know, and like I don't know all these things. And I was like, why is this like whatever? And then I was like, what does kurum mean? And then one of the girls was like, doesn't that mean butt? And I was like, no. And then she was like, oh, and then she's like, what's the word for butt? This is like funny. This is like funny. She's like, what's the word for butt? And I was like, ongdongi, and I said it with like zero hesitation. Like it just flew out of my mouth. Like she was like, what's the word for butt? And I was like, ongdongi, like that is the word for butt. And then she was like, no, like not that. And I was like, it's funny because like I said the word for like but like I said the word for like but to like not the word for like the like conjunction but like like Jim's butt cheeks. Like I said like ongtongi, and like it was just funny that like that's like it just immediately went out of my mouth. And then she's like, no, like not that. And I was like dead that I had said that. And then I was like, oh. And then I was like, Kunde Hajima. And I was like, I don't know. But then she's like, oh, like Kunde, like that's the one. And I was like, it's funny because like I feel like Kunde and like Kurum like do not be sounding the same word. Like I do not be getting those confused. But anyways. But yeah, and then like another time later, we had to in that class we had to like pair up where we were paired up and like read a conversation. And like I would read like one person's line and then she would read the next person's line, and like not that like I care, like it's like everyone like language learning, like everyone starts from like the bottom and works their way up, so it's not like it's like embarrassing or anything, and it's not like I'm so much better than you, but like she just read like really slow, and like there were things like she either pronounced like poorly or like incorrectly, like it just wasn't the correct pronunciation, and it was just shocking to me because I'm like, these people have been in Korean for like a year in college and like still like aren't able to, like, not that I'm great at reading it, like not that I can read it super fast or like perfectly and like sound like have perfect pronunciation, but it was just shocking, like the like level of difference in that. And I was like, how do you not know how to say how's the weather when you've like been in Korean for a year, and I studied it for like not that long and I knew how to say that like on my own. Like it was just shocking. So anyway, so that's how that is. And then my other class is like, it's like art and social justice, and that class is just confusing me. Like what is even happening? But anyways, that's basically been the college experience summed up, as I just have no friends, and yeah, and I just am very unsure about my future. But then this weekend was fun. Me and Emily went to a taco place. It's funny because the pictures from the photo shoot, like that was at like a pink themed taco place. And then also when we found out she couldn't park overnight in the parking garage right by my dorm, so because of like a game, so we went to this one that I was like, this one should be closer. But then it was 17 minutes away, and it was like nighttime, and we were wearing those outfits in the photo shoot, and we're like, this is kind of scary. But there's like some people around and like kind of like buildings and things like that, but we were like, I feel like it's still like whatever, so we were like, let's go to this one. It's called East Campus Garage, so like it should be closer. That one is even further. It's 21 minutes away. And so, but we just went anyway, walking back to the dorm. And it's funny because the other one, like there were like buildings and like some people, but like the one we walked back from, like there were no buildings and there were no people. Like it was just highways and cars. Like nobody was out, and like we were like afraid. Like we were like, we're gonna get kidnapped. And at one point, like we were like going over a bridge, and there were like highways like going underneath us, and we were like, someone can just grab us and like we'd be on the highway like out of here. And then there's like a intersection, and we were stopped waiting to cross, and then like this like man and his car like rolled down the window and like smiled and waved at us and just like kept staring at us, and we were like, we're gonna die. um and then the next day we were getting ready to leave, and it's funny because I forgot like us parking that far would mean we would have to make the walk again when we were leaving, so we had to have a 21-minute walk again, except this time it wasn't in the cool of night. It was like 1 p.m. and it was like a billion degrees outside, and I was carrying all my stuff that I was going to be taking with me, and it was so heavy, like, and I was just carrying like a duffel bag and my like school purse on my left shoulder, literally dying. It was just awful. um yeah, and then we're gonna go to garage sales on Sunday, except there were just like none out, and it was just really depressing. um But yeah, I feel like that's all I have to say. Oh, my roommate's nice. She's chill. She doesn't like BTS or Hello Kitty, but I don't think she minds that I have them. Oh, and she made a joke about how she feels safe going to sleep at night because, like, BTS is watching over her, and that made me laugh. But yeah, she's nice, and she's, like, quiet, which I appreciate, and, like, she just kind of be going to bed whenever I do. Like, I'll be like, can I turn off the light? And she's like, yeah, and then she's, like, also going to sleep, or just like laying in her bed but like quiet, you know. But I'm like, girl, like you can tell me if you're wanting to go to bed. But she's like, no, like I'm always fine, like whatever. Anyways, but she's chill, she's nice. The other day, because we don't talk very much, but the other day we chatted for like hours. It was like funny. um yeah, anyways, that's like all, I guess. It's funny because, like, was that boring? Like, probably. Like, me being, like, the college experience is, like, just going to class and, like, having no friends and just, like, eating by yourself. That's, like, funny. Oh, also, it's funny because you're, like, I'm gonna, like, have to go to college when I'm 30 because I'm gonna have no money for it. And I'm, like, the way that, like, I should go to school, like, I should, like, just transfer. Because, okay, no, because why, like, my mom didn't even tell me until like I like was leaving for school, like literally in like a week or something, and she was like, you have to take out loans. Like, so like I have student loans right now, like I'm like already in debt, like what the heck. And I was like just like shocked at that. Like I was like, I didn't know like I would have to like, I don't know, like it was just like just very like, not you like having to pay for your own college, so like I feel like silly for complaining about this, but like I just like, she did not tell me I was going to be having like to take out like loans and things like that. And I'm like, that's like, and I don't have a job, and like I don't know. Anyways, like the way I'm like I don't want to pay interest on it, so I should just like use the money I like hated my life like working for when I worked at Sweet Frog, that I've like saved up, and just spend that so I don't have like any like interest paid on it. But then I'm like, it's funny because like I was like saving that money for like not a, like it was gonna be for a car, but like I'm no longer feeling like I'm gonna buy a car since like I'm gonna be in college and then I'm gonna be in Korea. But I was like thinking that would be like Korea funds, whether that's just like moving there or like visiting there with you. So I was like, or like just also just funds for like when you get back so we can do things. So I was like dead. I was like, man, like that's like the worst. Anyways, so yeah, so I have debt now. I have loans. Oh, but I was gonna say, cause like UT Austin's like kind of an expensive school, cause it's like a nice school. But I'm like, I should just go to Korea next year, cause it's cheaper there. And I'm like, you should just also go to school in Korea. Like you just should. Like we can just we probably wouldn't go to the same school, but like we can just go to ones nearby and like live together. Cause education there like do be cheap. And I think there's things where you can go and like learn Korean there, you know, so it's like fun if you don't really know it. And I'm like, I'd be there, so like in like the wild, like you'd be fine because I'd be there, and then you could learn it in school. And then I'm like, then it's just convenient because it's like killing two birds with one stone, because then you can just live there because you're knowing the language. Anyways, that's like funny. So basically, we should just both like pay less for college by going to Korea. Anyways, that's all. Hope you're doing swell. Anyways, it's funny because like that was probably boring. It's funny because my mom said it's funny because today. Anyways, there's definitely been like some more things that have happened, but like I feel like it doesn't matter at all, to be honest. And like I feel like neither of us be having time for that right now, so um yeah. Anyways, look forward to seeing you in some months. I think about you every day. It's funny because like there just still do be like some days until you're back, but the way I'm like Tana's coming back so soon. Like every single day I'm like, man, like we're almost there. Like every day. Like I'm just always like, man, like we are in the home stretch. Like almost. Like basically tomorrow she's gonna be back. So that's funny. Anyways, see ya. Oh, I should like, it's funny, like me about to just end it. Okay, let's see. Code word is Jimin's butt cheeks and Hobie with long black hair because he's so sexy. And it's funny because I sometimes forget that like code words can be like people besides Jimin and Namjoon. Anyways, it's funny because I feel like there's a bug in my room. Like I'm like, is that a bug or is that just like a random hair? But I be feeling like that is a bug, so that's a little scary. But hail, um, hail Namjoon slapping me on the face.